Hello there. Well. A little bit more Sarah Boone tonight, folks. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Did you all just get out of fancy fiction stream? Jesus, I feel like I've been for a walk on a really windy day. Oh, my hair's a mess. So, yeah, anyway, full disclaimer, guys. I have to read it off this little card that I've been sent in the mail. Here at True Crime Metrics, 100% of all credit should go to fancy fiction. If you wish to leave a like on my video because you're enjoying the content, please do not. Please go and leave a like on Fancy Fiction's video. All credit and proceeds should go. I'm being facetious, of course. Okay. No, at the beginning of the video of Fancy Fiction's live stream, I was sat here, as I often am when I listen to her, totally worried, totally paranoid that she's addressing me directly but indirectly. Right? I was so convinced that I ended up crying to myself under my desk in the studio, wishing that I still had Chili, the Beanie Baby, what is it called? Beanie Baby polar bear called Chili. To dry my tears, but it was. I felt shell shocked, but luckily she came in the end of the video and assured me that she was not addressing me directly, and that if she were to, then I surely would know it. But I can tell you one thing, folks, there is no way that I am coming to Tallahassee and arriving at Leon County Courthouse without that Cadillac that the president drives with the 15-inch bulletproof windows. And, I want a team of Roman soldiers to escort me into the building, doing that turtle thing they do with their shields. Sniper. Yeah, no, sometimes I am a little afraid of fancy fiction. I don't know if she's madly in love with me or wants to kill me. But no, I do enjoy her work. I hope she doesn't think that I plagiarize her. But to be honest, I really don't get much time to watch any content anymore. I try to tune in to Fancy Fiction's shows whenever I can, because I kind of like what she does. I kind of like her. She's got no script either, right? I have no script. She has no script, and I don't know. That's just we're no scripters, so I kind of like that. But no, the only channel that I ever remember directly borrowing something from was True Crime Loser. I used to watch a lot of True Crime Loser, and I think twice on my shows I've used a line from him, but quoted him and said, this is what he said on his show. It's not like I take his line and try and pass it off as my own. So I really don't intend to borrow anything from anybody. Like I said, I don't have time to watch. I don't even know what's out there. I don't know who the people that she's referring to are. I've never made it through one of what does it mean? STS? Surviving the Survivor. I can't watch that guy. I'm not saying it's a bad channel. It's just not for me. Yeah, and even Jay, I've never made it through one of Jay's shows. It's I'm just not a fan of that kind of format with guests and picture in picture. And Joel from Surviving the Survivor, his studio with the lights and the microphone on that little tripod arm thing where it looks like an official studio. That's just not for me. One day I will show you my studio and you'll see where all of this stuff gets produced from. And that's going to be funny. That's going to be funny to gauge your guys' reactions to where all this magic happens, right? Yeah, that'll be coming up. Look forward to that. Yeah, so Fancy, love the show. All my credit goes to you. Please don't kill me. And let's start our show here, okay? Okay, welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody in the chat. So many messages already, guys. Keeping me busy, keeping me busy, keeping me busy. Okay, so we're going to, this is kind of a part 2, right, of Sarah Boone's thing the other day with, she's pissing off the judge. She's questioning witnesses now. What does sustained mean? What does sustained mean? She knows what sustained means. Okay, share screen. And which one is it? It's this one. Hello, hello, everybody in the comments. Riding, Christina, Leslie, Tracy, Hugh. I just haven't had a moment to read your comments, guys, but I'll get to it when we have a quiet moment in the video. Okay, let's play this puppy. Oh no, let's do our split screen thing. Sorry guys. You see, Joel would be all ready, wouldn't he? And Jay would have a guest on, holding a pen to accentuate his points. I got to get me one of those. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. As soon as we're on camera, as soon as we're on a proper camera, I'm getting a pen and I'm pointing it at the lens while I talk. I can't wait. Our subscriber count is going to go through the roof just as soon as I get my pen. I'm going to try it now, even though I'm off camera. Where's my pen? Okay. Ooh, yeah, that does feel good, actually. You know, even the behavior panel, big show like that, big following, huge following. Yeah, I've watched that from time to time, but it goes on a bit, doesn't it? I mean, I know a lot of my shows are 3 hours long, but we're all nutcases over here, so what's their excuse? Why is that black thing there? Okay, let's make that bigger. No prep metrics, no scripts, no prep.
See Deputy Barnett here. Could you come up, sir?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Sir, good afternoon, or good morning, rather. Can you state your full name and date of birth for the record for me?
My name is Chad Barnett.
And not your date of birth. Sorry. Could you spell your name for the record?
C-H-A-D-B-A-R-N-E-T-T.
And what are your duties and responsibilities here at the Orange County Courthouse?
I'm the deputy sheriff at the Orange County Courthouse. I work in courtrooms, I supervise squads, and I'm also in charge of training inside the courthouse.
Okay. Is there any training that's addressed with regard to other security measures other than shackles that may be provided for defendants?
Yes, we have an item called the stun cup that is also used in the courtroom.
Okay, could you step us through?
Oh, great. So she's complaining about leg restraints, and they say, is there an alternative? What else could we use? What else have you got in your bag of tricks? Well, we have a device called the stun cup. Is that what it was?
Through what a stun cuff is.
A stun cup is a electronic
Oh,
device.
cuff. Okay, cuff. I thought he said cup. The stun cup. Where do you wear that?
That's wireless. It's boxed secured to the leg. It has 50,000 volts, and it's able to be remotely sparked from a distance.
50,000 volts. Man, that would take down a bear.
How is it fixed or placed on a person?
It's dual strapped along the calf of either leg. It can be hidden in the pants, and gives the ability to people to walk around.
And who is in charge of operating that device?
It'll be an assigned officer that's been trained in the device.
And step us through the operation of how that device is utilized or operated by that officer.
The officer will show the device to the subject or the inmate or the defendant. It will be secured with 2 straps on the leg. There is a waiver to be signed prior to being used, explaining when it would be used, if it was needed to be used during court, violence, attempt to escape, any actions that lead to that level of to use the device. It's a 2-step process, so there is no way for it to accidentally be set off. It has to be hit 2 separate buttons, so there's no accidents. If it had to be used, it would cause a shock to the location on the calf, cause a great amount of pain, causing the defendant most likely to fall to the ground, and we could secure and take care of the situation.
Are there any other protocols or standard operating procedures regarding the use of the stun belt, other than what you've already identified?
Just to follow the response to resistance policy.
Okay, and can you explain the response to resistance policy?
We have a level of response to resistance depending on what an individual does to what we would do. So if she was attempt to escape or fight, we would use it to match that level of resistance.
What is the level of resistance whereby which the stun belt would be deployed or utilized?
At this moment, is at a level 3.
And what is a level 3?
3 would be failing to follow directions and stuff like that. If we asked her to get up and move or not, or follow the lawful order, we could use it. Most likely in the courtroom, we would use it probably at a level 4 level. That is pretty much fighting, escaping, attacking another person.
Okay, all right. State, do you have any questions to Deputy Barnett?
No, sure.
Ma'am, do you have any questions for Deputy Barnett?
I do, please.
Go ahead.
Tell me, what is the title of this?
Stun cuff.
Yeah, see these comments here, Fancy Fiction? Yeah, I got a whole crew backing me up, Fancy. Yeah, nice one, guys. I do say flattering things. I mean, it's kind of just a running joke, right? But you know, I do say flattering things from time to time. Anyway, I own the Sarah Boone case, and I need all the credit, please. Anyone out there taking my ideas, give me the credit for the Sarah Boone case.
Cuff.
Cuff.
And you said this was applied on the calf or the ankle?
Yeah, the Achilles tendon area in your leg.
And is this something that does it need extensive preparation, or is it something that can just be put on coming and going from the courtroom?
We would place it on you before the court starts, and you can take it off as court every time we exit the courtroom. It takes a few moments besides signing the waiver and securing it to the leg.
And it's a one-time waiver?
Each day you will have to re-sign the waiver.
Okay, so there's no limit to how many times it can be put on and taken off, put on, taken off?
No.
And it's a very simple process to apply
Yes,
and remove?
yes.
Thank you.
Any follow-up?
No, from the state.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Would I have my hands free, correct?
Yes, you would have your hands free either way. If you were in a leg iron, your hands would be completely free. The stun cuff, same thing.
And then I would be able to walk?
You would be able to walk with the stun cuff freely, yes.
So hands free and able to walk?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other follow-up? State.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Can Mr. Barnett or Sergeant Barnett be released?
That's something to look forward to, isn't it, Sarah? Hands free and able to walk. Oh, the other cop, the other deputy was saying, yeah, we're going to put her in leg irons, but it's okay because we're going to wrap tape around the chains. So when she moves, the jury won't hear the chains rattle. It's like, well, can't you just get a really strong Kevlar fabric? You know, the same stuff that they put in bulletproof vests. I mean, no one's going to get out of that. You could make it out of fabric. It doesn't need to be literal leg irons, right? And even so, he was like, yeah, there's going to be a screen. There's going to be a screen so they can't see her feet, and we'll wrap tape around the chain so it won't make a noise. They won't be able to see it. And it's like, well, yeah, but you're going to walk funny. You're definitely going to walk funny if you've got leg irons on, for sure. It's going to look really weird. Anyway, I think the stun cup is a better idea. Yeah, 50,000 volts. I just hope it's used. I just hope we get to see that being used in court. That'd be great. She jumps into the jury booth and is zapped.
Yes.
Ma'am, can he be released?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. State any argument, any further witnesses, evidence, or testimony with regard to the defendant's shackle motion.
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, do you have any other things that you would like to tell the court with regard to your motion?
I don't understand what Sergeant Burnett was that you all providing me an option?
There is Florida Supreme Court case law addressing reasonable measures for movement by a defendant in the courtroom.
So that is an option.
Yes.
Okay. Do I need to supply the information in regards to the supposed 3 non-compliance before that can actually be made an actual option?
I cannot answer that question because that would be me providing you legal advice as to what you could, can't.
I think this is another sentence. This judge has said it so much now that it's just imprinted onto my brain. Anytime anyone asks me a question that makes me uncomfortable, you know, like, for example, if Fancy Fiction asked me out to dinner, right, I would say, I can't answer that for you, ma'am, because that would call for me giving you legal advice.
or should do.
You can use it in any situation, right? If a cop wants to see your ID, you could say, I cannot show that to you, sir, because that would call for me giving you legal advice.
And I cannot do that.
Would I be able to be unrestrained with that information?
I think that would come down to the argument of yourself and from the state as to what the court has to consider with regard to your requests and your motion and what the law is in the state of Florida.
If I may make it clear also, I'm simply just asking to be unhandcuffed so I can write and move properly. I'm not trying to maneuver the courtroom and so on and so forth. I simply just am asking to sit here being unhandcuffed so I can write without taking skin off of my wrist and being extremely uncomfortable.
Okay. Ma'am, thank you for that clarification, because when I read your motion, you asked to be unshackled, to have freedom of movement. And I interpreted that as you wanted to move as everybody else may be able to move in this courtroom, as Mr. Cacciatore has moved around, how other persons have moved around. And it wasn't only limited to your hands. I thought it meant to your entire person based on what it is that you were seeking in your motion. So just for the purposes of my own clarification, is your motion only seeking to have your hands not bound so that you can move your hands, but otherwise shackles that may be on your legs would continue to stay there?
Right. I don't currently have shackles, but I don't know what is in regards to trial procedure. And in regards for you not having the clarification of me just wanting to be unhandcuffed, is it my responsibility, or I don't know if you can answer this, but you don't ask questions, which is what got me in this predicament from the get-go of having no counsel, because no questions were ever asked to me. Just for the majority of my motions and letters and so on that I have supplied the court for more information to try to intervene and help, it's just gotten me into hotter water and no counsel and still restrained. So is it something that I need to specifically clarify going forward, or is it something that you have the ability to ask me questions so you have a better understanding?
Generally, I don't know that I can answer that question because it may call for me providing you legal advice. If I'm asking questions, it's because I'm trying to clarify things from my understanding. I cannot ask questions on your behalf. I cannot ask questions for you. I cannot assist you in any process, be it this hearing or at trial.
Right. Yes, I understand. I wasn't asking for assistance. I was just trying to understand by you not asking questions in regards to my motion about being unhandcuffed and unshackled simply meant just my handcuffs.
Ma'am, I reviewed your motion to be unshackled, unhandcuffed, and allowed reasonable freedom to movement and functioning accordingly, equally, and comfortably while utilizing the courtroom. All normal movement of the defendant's hands is as a whole freely, properly, successfully accomplish any task that is needed. Asking to be unshackled and unhandcuffed, the defendant is simply requesting equal, comfortable, functional movement to achieve advancement in her forfeited right to counsel by the court, which will greatly enhance the productivity and progress for the defendant and the completion of her defense in her criminal case in preparation for trial. Your wherefore clause specifically asks to be unshackled, unhandcuffed, and allowed reasonably freedom in movement to function equally, accordingly, and comfortably in the courtroom. I took that as you wanted to move around. You did not want to be shackled, which would be your legs as well, and you did not want to have handcuffs. If you're telling me now that all you're asking is your hands to be free, that's respectfully not what your motion says over and over and over again, as I've just read. So if you would like to clarify for me now at this time, you can, as to what it is that you're asking of me.
Yes, handcuffed. I would like to have these handcuffs removed from my wrists.
Okay.
In regards to the unshackled, I know at some point I would have to maneuver, I'm guessing.
Lee Ruddy says metrics, perfect timing for live in the USA, East Coast. Well, you know, Lee, I really have to give credit to Fancy Fiction for the timing of tonight's show, because it was her show that, you know, I was waiting for it to end and then started. So all credit must go to Fancy. Hey, I just realized it's the 13th of August. That's the date that Chris Watts did all that shit. Yeah. Bad man. How long ago was that? 6 years.
In the courtroom for trial.
Hey, Lee,
So
thanks so much for the super something. Thank you, Lee.
Want to have to wait last moment to have to do another motion to be unshackled if that's what my option is, because I don't know. So I was just trying to be transparent prior so you would know what it was that I was hopefully expecting. But first,
Go ahead.
it's just handcuffs means unhandcuffed. And if for trial I have to be shackled, to be unshackled.
Okay, and when you say unshackled, what do you mean by that? Just so that we're all in the same field.
Shackled, as far as my understanding is from being shackled, means that I have this along with my waist, along with my ankles. So unhandcuffed is simply for the hands and the wrists, and then unshackled would be for my ankles and for the feet.
And is that what you were seeking for trial purposes?
I didn't know if I was going to be shackled or not. So that, again, that was why I was trying to be transparent and up forward by doing so now, to make the court aware that that would be a request of mine at the time.
Okay, all right. So you would be seeking to be unshackled, no leg restraints, no arm restraints at trial, right?
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you also be asking of the court to move around the courtroom when trial would take place?
I'm not sure if this is considered legal advice, but I don't know. I know from seeing other trials, the state and the defense, they maneuver the courtroom in front of the jury, so on and so forth, and they hand things back and forth. I would have to have other movement other than me sitting here. So yes, I would have very limited, reasonable movement in the courtroom for trial.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else, ma'am, that you would like to tell me with regard to what you're seeking in your motion to be hands-free, for lack of a better word, during any hearings that we may have, and then to be hands-free, unshackled with your legs, and to have movement in the courtroom during the course of the trial? Is there anything else that you'd like to tell me about those requests?
I don't know if you've been able to see my difficulty with just simply trying to take notes. Yes, very much. I would like to be unhandcuffed, just to sit here and be in attendance of my hearings, conferences, whatever it is. For the trial, when the time comes for any limited movement that I would have, the stun cuff, I would sign the waiver now. Just whatever it is that I can do in order to enable myself to be able to have the same comfortable atmosphere and movement and equal opportunities just as everyone else.
Okay, thank you. Anything else you'd like to tell me, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, state any argument.
Your Honor, you've heard the Sheriff's Office's position. They're in charge of courtroom security. They presented basically their position is she should not be unshackled, but you've also heard from Deputy Barnett, who explained the options that are available to the court. Our position is if you do not allow her freedom of movement with the stun cuff, then today is probably the best day to start talking about the logistics of how we're going to do this trial so it does not create the inference that she is an inmate. Does that mean the state will be sitting at counsel table to question witnesses? How are we going to go about getting back and forth to the clerk and to the witness to present exhibits if she is not going to be able to do the same with shackles? So we just want to bring everything to the court's attention so we can get it all settled today.
I agree, which was the purpose of why we wanted to set it for today, to address all those circumstances and again, think ahead. Ma'am, do you have any closing remarks or arguments that you'd like to make to the court about your desires to be unhandcuffed, unshackled, and or utilize the stun cuff?
I believe that it is unfair
What's up, Kim? Am I upsetting you, Kim? I don't want to upset you, Kim.
that you, number one, want me to represent myself, and then number two, you would like for me to represent myself while being handcuffed, to be able to progressively and actively participate properly in the same as others with just simply being able to write notes. At some point, I'm sure I will be bringing things with me to court that I need to reach for, to open, to pass normal functions in a body as a whole, with the same equal level as anyone in the courtroom would have in order for myself to be able to do the same and function fairly and appropriately. I don't know if this is legal advice or not, but in a trial, are you able to tell me, are defendants shackled, or is this something that I don't?
Amy, yeah, Sarah's ex-husband did an interview. Maybe we'll watch that after this. I was going to do the testimony of Erica Johnson, the Adelson employee in Charlie Adelson's trial, because I completely forgot the other day that she testified there as well. But it's probably pretty much the same, and maybe we'll just keep it on topic with the Boone tonight.
Don't even need to worry about because they're not even shackled.
Typically, ma'am, the defendants have leg shackles that, as Deputy Lowton identified, they're wrapped so that they're muffled, so that they don't jingle jangle or bring any noise attention. And the privacy panels located in front of defense counsel's table would prohibit the jury from seeing those. Their hands are free, but the legs are in restraints.
Thank you. Yes, I very much would like to be unhandcuffed just to simply take notes and function normally and equally, just for hearings and so on and so forth, which we have a lot scheduled futuristically. And then when trial comes about, either way with trial and or hearings, the stun cuff, I am readily awaiting for that to be an option and to apply as soon as possible. Whatever it is and however it is that I need to, just to at least just have these removed.
Yeah. Well, we can put it on right now, Sarah, and you can wear it for the next 2 months. God, be kind of intense, wouldn't it? What if someone makes a mistake and drops the remote? 50,000 volts. That's a lot, isn't it? What's a light bulb? Light bulb is like, I mean, a socket in the wall is 220 volts. That hurts if you get shocked from that. 50,000? Man.
Got it. Any closing remarks, Mr. J?
No, Aaron, just address all the concerns, which is the court's plan.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much.
What is going on with the prosecution? Why do we just sometimes have Mr. J? Sometimes we have Chicken Cacciatore. It seems like there's no... the prosecution has always worried me in this case. There's no organization, no one that seems to know what the hell's going on, what they're doing. They want a plea deal. They're not going to get one. Sarah's coming in now. I think she's getting used to the idea and starting to actually plan her opening statements. Can you wait for that? What the hell is that going to be like? You know, Darrell Brooks, as crazy as he was, sort of tried to act like a lawyer, right? We're not going to see that with Sarah. We're not going to see that with Sarah. She's going to be doing exactly the same thing if she went for lunch and was talking to a girlfriend in the subway sandwich shop, the Subway that they have in the foyer of Home Depot, not even a good one, not even a proper one, just the Home Depot Subway. That's what we're going to get from Sarah in her opening statement.
I think the Florida Supreme Court has given us the guidance specifically for a case just like this in Weaver versus State, 894 Southern 2nd, 178 by the Florida Supreme Court in 2004. In that case, there was
I can guarantee you this, and you mark the calendar, right? She is going to say this phrase in her opening statement. When I tell you all this, and then she says something, right? When I tell you all this, tell me and we'll both know. It was not intentional. It's just going to be the interview all over again. It was not in any way, shape, or form intentional. No malicious. No malicious.
a pro se defendant who was representing themselves, who had been charged with first-degree murder. And there was no prior history of violent courtroom outbursts. The defendant in that case was representing themselves, and there was some concerns as to being allowed to move around the courtroom during trial may present some safety hazards. The court identified as there would be, in our case, potential sidebars, access to witnesses, evidence, jurors, etc. And that in that case, Weaver's pro se status meant that he would be moving about the courtroom in close proximity to the judge, jurors, prosecutors, witnesses, and potential firearm evidence. This closer proximity to various trial participants arguably raises greater safety concerns than the defendant who is represented by counsel and has no legitimate reason to wander beyond the defense table. Given those circumstances in which a defendant is charged with first-degree murder who is representing himself and moving about the courtroom in close proximity to trial exhibits, especially adverse witnesses, the trial court did not abuse its discretion, even though Weaver had no prior history of violent courtroom behavior. In the Weaver case, the Florida Supreme Court found that the trial court's utilization of a stun belt was not so prejudicial when measured against the other alternative forms of restraint, and whether those alternatives are less prejudicial or viable. There was virtually no alternative to a stun gun, given the visibility of other restraints and the security concerns posed by Weaver's pro se status in that case. It is clear as a matter of Florida law that a criminal defendant's right to be free of physical restraints is not absolute, and that under the circumstances in the Weaver case, the decision to employ a stun belt constitutes a rational exercise of the trial court's discretion that was reasonably necessary to ensure order and safety in the courtroom, especially in light.
Bob from accounting says, what about a bailiff with a large fish who just whaps her when she acts up? yeah, I like that.
The defendant's pro se status. In that case, we had a firearm. It was first-degree murder. Here we have second-degree murder. The incidents identified by Officer Lotan as to non-compliance in jail for purportedly refusing to return to show up at court, and the charge itself. The charge itself has some level of concern because it is a second-degree murder, but I don't see how where we are right now is not on all fours with Weaver, especially coupled with Ms. Boone's acquiescence to utilizing the stun cuff and saying she'd sign the waiver today. She doesn't have to. You'll have to sign the waiver when we get to trial. So unless I hear anything alternatively from the state, the courts would grant the motion that she would be unhandcuffed for any hearing we have moving forward. Instead of her position in the box, we would probably have her seated at counsel's table. Unless
I believe second degree is life sentence, Lee, in Florida. Should we check? Sentence for second degree murder in Florida. Ugh. Well, this is a long document. Just see if I can scan it. Sentence. Where's the sentence? Oh. Well, let me play this. I'll try and find it.
I hear an objection from the state as to that. We'll address motions first. State, any position with regard to being unshackled and B, being seated at counsel's table for any motions moving forward?
No, we defer to the court and the sheriff's office, who is in charge of security. Our concerns are just making sure that she's given a fair trial and fashioning a remedy that is a fair presentation for the jury to observe.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so ma'am, the court's gonna grant your motion, and then you will be unhandcuffed for every hearing moving forward. And instead of being in the jury box, you'll be seated at counsel's table, okay? You may still have your leg restraints on, but you'll be hands-free. For the purposes of trial, in accordance with the Florida Supreme Court decision in Weaver, you will be hands-free and you will not be shackled with legs. But the stun cuff, as identified by Sergeant Barnett, will be affixed to you and you'll have to sign that waiver. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
For sitting here in the counsel's table, you also said that I would be.
Yeah, you exist, Kurt. We can tell by that big membership star next to your name. Welcome, member. Welcome, True Crime Metrics member. And you, Leslie, and you, Riding. Look at these fans. And Amy, of course. And who else have we got? Who's a big, flashy member? I think that's it in the channel tonight, guys. Good to see you all. Spacey, how you doing?
Shackled. I'm not shackled now. Will I be shackled then?
My understanding is that you were. If you're not, and the only thing you have is your handcuffs?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. If that's the case, then you'll be seated at counsel's table with that, as you are without your hand restraints.
Okay, so I would be unbound.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
All right. The other item I have on, yes, sir.
I think the sheriff's office is looking for clarification, and I think I am too. I
Okay,
think the situation is because she has handcuffs on now, she doesn't have leg restraints, but for hearings, when her hands are unrestrained, her legs would be restrained.
okay, I'm getting a thumbs up from the deputy in the back that that's the case. Is that the standard operating procedure, Deputy Logan? Okay, so ma'am, so I'll clarify my order. For the purposes of any hearings, you'll be hands-free, but you will have leg restraints.
Yes.
That's not going to affect any fairness or impartiality
That's what he just said.
because it's just you and me and the state, and no jurors will see that.
Yeah, but Judge, what if I want to write on my documents with my feet?
Yes, sir.
Also, Judge, when she's being transported from the jail, she is going to be fully handcuffed with the belly chains and all that. We can take those off
In
when
advance.
she gets up here.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that. I'm just worried about the fairness here in the courtroom, especially when we bring in a jury panel. Okay. And for the purposes of trial, ma'am, you'll have no leg restraints, no hand restraints, your hands free, legs free, but you will have the stun cuff affixed to your leg. As identified by Sergeant Barnett, you're going to have to sign that waiver every day, okay?
Of course, and if I may, if anyone knows, the stun cuff, does it go over clothing or does it have to
It
just?
is under your clothing, as Sergeant Barnett identified. I have a representative from the Public Defender's Office who I've asked to be here. She's going to have a conversation with you, ma'am, after our hearing, so she can facilitate clothing for you, including pants that would prohibit the jury from viewing that device on your legs,
Yes,
okay?
thank you.
All right. Does that clarify for you, State?
Yes, I just saw them and I thought that I saw the confusion based on my experience and how it's done.
Okay.
Who cleared it up?
Thank you. Now, ma'am, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to wander wherever you want in the courtroom. There's going to be spots where you're going to be able to go to. You're not going to be able to walk all the way up to witnesses. You're not going to be able to walk everywhere that you want. There's going to be places that you're going to have to go to. When we get closer to trial, we'll address the box, for lack of a better word, for where you'd be able to go and not go. And I'm going to give the same limitations to the state, okay?
I understand.
All right. Are you okay with addressing that later, Counselor?
Yeah, I mean, what I would envision is if she needs an exhibit brought to witness, I have no problem getting up and doing that for her.
I was gonna, either you could do it or I was gonna have the deputies do it. So, ma'am, I envision that because you're gonna be able to move about freely and our jurors are not gonna know that you have.
I've been having real doubts recently, guys, that this trial is going to even happen, to be honest, or it's going to be postponed, delayed, continued, whatever. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's all getting set up, right? Roll on October 7th.
Any restraints on you, and they're not going to be able to see the stun cuff, you can conduct any questions or statements or arguments from where you would like to be in the courtroom, either at counsel's table or at the podium here for you. If you need to approach a witness or you need to provide evidence to someone, I'm going to ask you and the state to both provide that information or that document to one of the deputies, and they'll be able to approach the witness for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions about the court's ruling or the procedures for you having movement throughout the courtroom during the course of our trial?
No, I understand. And you said that it would be clarified greater once we get closer to that date. But I would like to ask, please, when the time does come for any exhibits or anything to be handed to jurors, yourself or anyone in the courtroom, is it an option for the state or a deputy, or is it specifically whoever's the closest and can do it faster?
So what I'm going to do, ma'am, is I have spoken with the sheriff's office. I'm going to endeavor to have additional security in the office or in the courtroom, so that there will be a deputy for basically your disposal, be seated closer to you, so that if you have a document that you want to bring to a witness's attention or ask them questions about it, you can hand it to that dedicated deputy for you, ma'am.
Yes, that is my preference, please. Thank you.
That's what I'm endeavoring to try to do for you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about the ruling?
No, sir.
Okay, so your motion is granted for the reasons stated on the record.
Thank you.
State anything to clarify?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, the last issue that I had on my list this morning was the scheduling order and notice of hearings that the court entered on August 5 required the jail to provide the every Monday at 9 a.m. commencing August 12, 2024, a representative from the Orange County Jail shall email to my judicial assistant, email provided in the order, all notebook entries from IMS from the prior week, Monday through Sunday, for every issuance of a laptop and USB device is issued to the defendant. I'm simply changing.
Leslie, I think a relative would bring her clothing in. If they can find one that cares enough to do that. I don't think Brian will be bringing anything in. That's her ex-husband. Yeah, they'll bring it in and they'll hand it to a deputy, and then the deputy will put it through that letterbox in her door and she'll put on the clothes.
That to close it.
That's a good point. We're all going on about what Donna's going to wear to trial. What the hell is Sarah Boone going to wear? Because we've only seen her in trailer trash sweats, right? Alcoholic sweats. So she's going to be what, in a suit? Okay.
Business from 9 a.m. to close the business at 5 p.m. And that order will be hand delivered to Ms. Boone and e-filed to the state today.
Okay.
Is there anything else, state, that we need to address?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ma'am, is there anything else that you'd like to bring to my attention?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to the status report you were just speaking about regarding them providing me with the laptop each day, what is your definition of entries?
The protocol, ma'am, that was read to you, that you were given a hard copy of Monday, and was also mailed to you on, I believe, the 30th, at the appropriate P.O. box for legal mail. The protocol identifies entries.
Futuristically is a word, Tracy L. Futuristically. Yeah.
That are in the information management system at the jail for when the laptop is released to you and then returned.
Okay, so it's simply just an entry by the officer stating that they gave it to me and it was returned.
I'm making that assumption. I'm just relying on what is in the protocol.
Okay, my concern was they're not stating what it was that I looked at for how long and
I don't know that they're going to record that information of the protocol, ma'am. It's just simply when it's checked out and returned under the protocol.
Yes, thank you for that clarification. And then also for the notice of the expected evidence and witnesses at the trial, we didn't discuss the physical evidence. And I know that that was something pending in regards to the media being.
The physical evidence, we're set to review that here in court on September 3rd at 9 o'clock in the morning. And that was identified in the order from the 5th, ma'am, which you said that you got a copy of through the mail. That's in paragraph 5. The state's physical evidence will be reviewed with the state and the defendant on September 3, 2024 at 9 a.m. at courtroom 12A, Orange County Courthouse, and then the address of the courthouse. So the physical evidence will be reviewed at that point in time.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand. My question though was, are you still trying to decide or research having the media here?
Yes, ma'am. I pulled the case law on it. I need to review that case law to see if an evidentiary hearing is required. I know that we have a hearing that we had set for August 14th, which was to address a couple of other issues, specifically your motion to receive the hard copy documents. We no longer need that hearing on August 14th at 1:30 because the jail has confirmed that they have space and Mr. Lane's taking care of that today. But I do want to utilize that hearing for, I still want to utilize that hearing since we've carved it out. So at that hearing, we can address the media issue based on the court's review of the case law and determine if we have to have an evidentiary hearing, we can have an evidentiary hearing at that time. And also we can utilize that as a status as to your review, ma'am, of the digital evidence and to confirm that you've had the opportunity to review it. You don't have to finalize it, but just to see where you are in reviewing that digital evidence that the state may be seeking to introduce at trial.
This is for the 14th.
That's correct, ma'am.
I've been thinking recently, guys, there's not much going on in this last little bit here, is there? But I've been thinking recently, all along, I've been thinking, you know, the thing about how George got in the suitcase, I always thought she tricked him in there, possibly by promising him a sensual treat or like betting him money. I bet you can't fit in there, like that bit in Friends where Joey gets in the entertainment center and then the guy who's come to buy it locks him in and steals all their stuff. Yeah, I thought that might happen, but no, I think it might be even more sinister than that. And then what I was thinking is she tricked him into the bag, threw the bag down the suitcase and knocked him out. But I think actually she might have knocked him out and then before he got in the bag and then put him in the bag himself. So from his perspective, all he does is get a friggin' little league bat over the head, knocked out cold, wakes up in a bag, probably after also being thrown down the stairs while unconscious. I mean, imagine if she'd have filmed that. Maybe she did. Maybe she just managed to delete that video. God, imagine if some high-tech, they send the phone to Dell Computers and they pull off the video of the bag actually going down the stairs with an unconscious and already unconscious George in it, man. Whew. Real sinister. This hide and seek never happened. Painting and puzzles never happened, right? They weren't having a pleasant evening, enjoying each other's company. They were having an argument. You know. And she snapped. I still don't think she intended to kill him. A lot of people go, oh no, this must have been planned. It must have been planned. It's first degree. She planned. She premeditated. I don't think so. I think she's just a freaking moron, right?
And what is the time, please?
1:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, and for the case law that you are researching and referencing, are we able to have a copy of it prior?
Sure. I don't see any problem. It's the Miami Herald decision. I don't know the citation off the top of my head, but I don't have a problem.
I have no problem. I'm familiar with the case.
Sure. Ma'am, what I'll do is I'm going to prepare another order. I'll be able to hand deliver you the one today, changing the Orange County Jail, providing the notebook entries from 9 a.m. to close of business. I can hand deliver that to you today. But in the order that I mail to you, ma'am, it'll provide the case law with regard to the your privacy and media concerns.
Yes, thank you.
And that'll be heard on August 14th at 1:30, in addition to a status on the digital. Now, ma'am, based on the scheduling order that the court entered back on August 5, you have 14 days from today, absent of showing of good cause, to extend any deadlines to provide your objections in writing to that evidence.
Forgive me, it's objections for the
The
evidence from
digital
the state
evidence, the digital evidence only.
of the 2 USB drives from Mr. Lane.
Oh, no, ma'am, the USB drive that Mr. Lane's gonna be providing to the jail today that has those 9 items
Oh, yes.
as identified in this notice of expected evidence that you were provided today.
14 days, and I have to write objections.
That is correct. So your objections to the digital discovery will be due no later than August 23rd. And I will put this all in order for you as well, ma'am.
Thank you.
I believe that addresses all of the court's matters that were teed up for today. State, do you have anything else?
No, no.
Ma'am, is there anything else?
I do have this. I made a copy of it for you, this letter that I supplied to Captain Di Giovanni upon her return, knowing what I am requesting. I don't know if I'm able to tell you, but it is a basic laptop. I have no internet and I have no phone. I'm trying to utilize the classroom that is in our dorm. I'm trying to have access to a phone. The USB drives, how they're being handled, I feel very uncomfortable with, as I referenced to you prior. They're being taken out of the bags, and then paperwork is being removed from those bags, like the protocol security paperwork that I needed to reference, and then they're resealing the bags. The other day, one of the officers took the USB drives upon herself to remove from the bags herself, and then just handed me both the USB drives. I don't know where they go. I don't know who controls them. I don't know how they're stored. And one of my requests was to keep it at my bunk in my locked drawer, along with, of course, the internet, if I could be supplied earphones and headphones for listening, and a word program, just simply to be able to type motions and letters and anything that needs to be documented or recorded. It is simply a basic laptop in order for me to view my USB drives, and just, as I stated earlier to you, some of the parts of the USB drives cannot be viewed, which I will discuss with Mr. Lane tomorrow when I visit with him.
Ma'am, well, you could give your letter to the deputy. We will file that in the court file. Part of the reason we had set the August 14th hearing on your motion for the hard copy discovery was that Captain Di Giovanni was returning on August the 12th from a vacation, and we were endeavoring to have a representative from the jail or herself be here for that hearing. So in addition to a status as to your review of the digital evidence, a hearing on media request or prevent media from being at the September 3rd discovery viewing hearing, will address your concerns as identified in this letter, and have a representative from the jail, be it Captain Di Giovanni or someone else, here to address those concerns.
Thank you. And if I may say one last thing, please, in regards to the media being a part of my discovery hearing, I am highly opposed to it.
What are you highly opposed to?
That is, I know that I have a lot of my case details that are already online. For me to be recorded, inspecting and testing and photographing, I believe that is my business only. And one
I don't know what she thinks that this in like viewing the physical evidence is, but as far as I understand it, it's basically, we're bringing in exhibit F12G7, and that's it there, and it's in that bag. Okay, next. Oh, this is exhibit. What does she think she's going to do? Testing and inspecting, and like a science lab. You just look at the bag, and then what is it? What are they going to be testing? There's physical evidence. Okay, let's think. There's the suitcase. There's maybe they're going to bring in some of the puzzles and the paintings. What else is there? The phone. I really can't think of anything. What other physical? Maybe George's clothes that he was wearing. maybe her clothes. There's not much. It's not, you know, it's not like, well, I can't think of another case where there's a lot of, you know, like the Jodi Arias case. There would be the knife and the gun and the bit of the wall with her hand in blood. There's loads of physical evidence, right? The camera and all this stuff that to go through. But with Sarah's case, it's basically a bag and some paintings and a puzzle and maybe George's clothes. That's all I can think of. Anyone else think of anything? Let me know in the comments.
Privacy that I should be able to maintain, especially being in the courtroom doing so.
You're talking about the September 3rd evidence unit, right?
For the media?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Again, ma'am, we're going to have that hearing on the 14th.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, ma'am?
No.
Okay. I will see you all on August 14th at 1:30. Oh, thank you. Ma'am, as the attorney from the Justice Administration Commission had identified, he has provided the court via
See you later, Amory Cat Lady.
email the pro se packet. I have a hard copy for you, and I'm going to have Ms. Barrios also send you a copy by way of the mail. It was already mailed. Okay, we're going to mail you a copy as well, ma'am. Today, I'm going to give this to the deputy to provide to you. This is the pro se packet that the JAC attorney made reference to on our hearing on August 5.
Yes, thank you. And then also the public defender's office, you said, would be meeting you downstairs?
They're going to be meeting you momentarily. Be that right here or downstairs, I'm not sure. But they will be meeting you to discuss that. Okay, thank you, Ms. Click. All right, any other questions, Dave?
No, Your Honor.
Any other questions, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll see you on August 14th at 1:30. We'll return Ms. Boone to the Orange County Jail.
Thank you.
She's looking quite pleased with herself, isn't she? She's got her stun cup. Oh, so should we check out the Brian interview? But before we do that, guys, if you are enjoying tonight's show, please remember to go and leave a like on Fancy Fiction's channel. There's a link to Fancy's Fiction Patreon in the description for this video, and you can also buyheracoffee.com at buyheracoffee.com in the description for the video. But it's really for me. Okay, Brian. But remember all that, what did Ian say? I own the Sarah Boone case, and I am the OG, and I've read everything. Brian Boone interview.
Today's date is February 24th.
And thank you, Mentor Lawyer, for letting us use your video here. We appreciate that, Mentor Lawyer. And I will put a link to your channel in the description for this video. There isn't one there because this was an unexpected showing of your video. But thank you very much, Mentor Lawyer. Great channel. Love your work, James. Big man, James.
2020. The time now is approximately 15:25 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am currently located in my unmarked agency vehicle in front of 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park, Florida. Also in the car with me is my partner,
Scott Lowen, Detective of the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
and your name, sir?
Brian, 75.
Okay. So, Brian, to my understanding, you were called over here. So can you just take me back to this morning and your involvement with Sarah, which is your ex-wife?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. We've been divorced about a year and a half.
Okay.
This morning. I mean, it's amazing what these two cops have had to go through in one day and get their head round, right? Just meeting Sarah would be enough in any circumstance. But under all this, and you could say, yeah, but they're cops. They do this all the time. They don't do this all the time. Not this.
Well, I started calling her probably 10:30 or so. It's her day to pick up the kid, but
Okay.
it doesn't always happen. It's 1 or 2 days a week, maybe.
The kid. I mean, it's always kind of bothered. It's her day to pick up the kid. What about our son or my boy or Lucas, the kid? Her day to pick up the kid. I mean, I'm sure he's a good dad, but it's kind of weird distancing language, isn't it? The kid.
She gets him.
Out of the 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And what do you like every other day you're supposed to?
Well, we're supposed to. She's Monday, Tuesday, I'm Wednesday, Thursday, and then we alternate Friday through Sunday is how it's supposed to. I was actually my lawyer back a couple of weeks ago because I was looking to get it changed because she can never stick to it. There's always some reason why. So it's general that I start calling her around then to find out if she's actually going to get him, even though yesterday she told me she would. So I started calling her about 10:30. Never got any answer until 9. So I finally got a hold of her at 12:49.
And Brian's had some great benefits out of this whole thing, hasn't he? It's like this nightmare ex-wife, mother of his son, that's not really a mother of his son, because every time it's her time to look after him, she's like, yeah, phoning Brian, George is in a mood and he's drunk and you need to come and get the boy, come and get the kid. I can't take him to school. George is having an episode. Like every time. And when it's her day to pick up him, the kid from school, Brian has to start calling her at 9 in the morning to make sure that he can actually do something with his day. Oh man, he wanted to move away, like to a different town, but couldn't. Unbelievable. Maybe he has now. Maybe they've both moved away.
And did she call you or you call her?
No, I called her. I called her at 11:25. I did that twice. I always call twice because generally she's asleep or whatever. And then I called her 2 more times at 12:21, and then I called her again at 12:49, and that's when she answered.
Okay.
Freaking out, saying that George was dead, and could I please come over? So
Teresa Luck of the Irish says, isn't the video of George in the suitcase in evidence? Yes, it certainly is, but that evidence will be digital evidence, which means it will be available for her to review on the laptop. So that's not what she's going to be looking at in court. The only stuff that she's going to be looking at in court is the stuff that is not possible for them to put on a USB drive and deliver to her at the jail. So it's only going to be physical evidence, tangible evidence and such like that. But still, she's not going to need to actually scientifically inspect it in front of the TV cameras. You look at the box and say, yeah, that's in the box.
So I told her you need to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
And went and got my dog in his crate and everything, and started heading over here. She called me again at 12:54 asking if I was going to be coming over, if I'd left yet. And I told her I had already left. I was going to be there in a couple minutes. So I got here, knocked on the door, walked in just right in the front entrance area. Told her once again, you need to call the police.
Was she on the phone with anyone when
Not
you saw her?
Not yet.
Okay.
She was shaking and she was trying to get herself something to drink because she was just like freaking out. So that's when she got on the phone and called, and I said, I'm going outside because I don't really want to be in here right now. So I came outside and I sat in my car until people showed up, and
Okay.
it's kind of where we've gone from there. So
Okay. So you called her about 5 or 6 times before she answered.
yeah, which completely normal.
Normal to you. Okay. The rotation real quick. So Monday, Tuesday, she'll have them Wednesday, Thursday, you'll have them, and then you rotate each weekend.
Yeah, well,
Like it's every other weekend.
how it's supposed to work. Generally, it's 1 or 2 times, maybe a week. I think she had him last Tuesday was the last time he was actually over here.
And spent the night?
Yes.
Okay.
It's prob-
Hi, Rebecca. Helt from Indiana. Listen, Rebecca, any chance you would consider moving to Idaho permanently and registering your address with the Idaho whatever, because we still need Idaho. We have Indiana, great state Indiana. We have Indiana already on our wonderful metrics map, but we do not have Idaho. Still looking for someone from Idaho who cares. There aren't any people who care in Idaho about this show for some reason. What are they busy doing? Cooking with bear fat.
Probably another week before that.
What's your son's name?
Lucas. Lukas.
L-U-K. And Boone?
Yeah.
You think he stayed here last Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was last Tuesday.
Was, well then, okay, so you technically have him more than she does. Is that where you're getting?
Yeah, that's why I said I was going
so
to
even though that's how it's supposed to be, you still have him.
Yeah, it's not a good day. George is in a bad mood or whatever else reason. I think sometimes just she wants to stay up and drink and can't really do that. She's got to wake up and take him to school the next day.
Right.
Any number of different reasons. So.
Okay. How long have you known Sarah?
Since, let's see here, I was probably 23 or so.
Yeah, the cough on this detective. I know this detective from another case, but I can't remember which case. I've been trying to think, going through all the different cases in my mind, saying, where have I seen this person before? Because she had the exact same trademark cough. That's, oh, sorry, I wasn't clicked on KLK's message.
So when we met?
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Since you were 23?
Yeah. Yeah, so probably, 20 years. We dated for quite a while. And then got married, whatever it was, 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Well, I guess 12, 13 years ago before the divorce. So I guess like 14, 15 ago, something like that, maybe.
Okay.
Whatnot. Merch will be coming out next Monday or Tuesday. Need another week to get it finalized in the stores, on the show, and then we'll show everybody the fantastic merch, guys. And there's a discount to the merch for Patreon members. How fantastic is that?
What can you tell me about her?
I don't, she's generally not, she can get a bit violent when she drinks. Not to this kind of extent. I don't know what happened exactly. But,
right. No, I'm just looking for.
That was part of it. The alcohol has gotten worse and worse and worse over the years. That's one of the main reasons why I divorced her. I just couldn't deal with it. It got to the point where, on weekdays she'd go out, and I guess the George person is one of the people she had met, because I separated at one point and went over to my parents' house to live for a few months. And I guess she met him over at the pool place or something like that. But I'd come back and we were in therapy trying to work it out. And on a weeknight when he's got school the next day, I've got work the next day. She was out till 3 o'clock in the morning when the bar closes, and she'd bring people back over on the back porch. One time some random person walked in my house and started screaming for Sarah at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning when we're trying to.
How about that, guys? Oh, try and transport yourself to that place. You're at home with your son. You've got work in the morning. He's got school, early start. Gonna have some breakfast, some father-son breakfast in the morning, and then off to school and off to work. But then at 3 in the morning, some random person is in your living room screaming for Sarah. Sarah! Where's the other bottle? You said you had more bottles. Oh man, what a nightmare. What would you do? I'd go fucking nuts. You know, I'd throw that person out of the house hard, and then lock Sarah out as well. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Honestly, I mean, I just couldn't get over it.
So did you used to live here?
No.
No,
I bought her out of our house.
Okay.
I was gonna just sell it and move because I kind of want to go back to College Park, which is where I'm from. But
Right.
I thought it would be maybe easier for Lucas if I just bought her out and kept that house, so he had a little bit of continuancy, kind of.
Understandable.
So that's what I ended up doing, and then she moved right down the street here. So.
And how long would you say the alcoholism has been a part of her life?
Well, I mean, it's always been a part of her life. It seemed to have gotten worse and worse. I think more or less kind of since we had Lucas. And I think a lot of it was the fact that she kind of, I guess, maybe felt trapped or something.
Okay.
That, I mean, before that, I mean, whenever she wanted, you're outside having a drink. Oh, I want to go play pool. You go over across the street, you play pool for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore when she got a kid.
Right.
So
How old's your son?
he is 9. So, but I mean, she started just getting really angry.
And Detective Chelsea really feels sorry for Brian, doesn't she? And yeah, I mean, you would, wouldn't you? I suppose, but she's supposed to be gathering facts. I don't know. Both of these detectives, Detective Scott Lowen and Chelsea something. I didn't think they were good. You know, I didn't think the interview was good. I didn't think his shirt was good. The male cop, that big shirt that seemed to be made of wax. That big garish color. What the hell is that color? It's not pink. It's not red. It's not purple. It's not violet. It's its own shade of color, and it seemed to us almost change color as he moved. Right, the creases in the shirt. It's an amazing shirt. I hope he wears that to court with like a cattle tie. What do you call those ties? Cowboy ties. He definitely has a pair of cowboy boots and a big hat for weekends.
When she drank a lot, she said last night she fell asleep. There were plenty of times where she just basically passed out from drinking. So,
So you've witnessed her pass out from drinking?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And when she passes out, is she like out cold?
Oh, she's out.
Like how difficult would it be to like wake her?
Well, I mean, if I were to like shake her or something,
Right.
I could probably wake her up. But me making a phone call or noise probably wouldn't do it.
Okay. And would she be like in the middle of doing something and just like out cold, or would she go to bed?
Yeah,
and
it would
just
be
out cold?
Yeah, she wouldn't like fall over or anything. It would be more of a lay down and then she just out.
Right. Okay.
Bolo tie. Thanks, guys.
What do you know about her and George's relationship, if anything?
It was. I mean, I think she had him arrested like 5 or 6 times for domestic violence. I mean, he's stuck a steak knife in the back of her leg one time.
Okay.
He's
been arrested. So has he always been the one that gets arrested, or has she ever?
She was also one of the times. One of the times, both of them were arrested.
Now, I believe the thing about George sticking a steak knife in the back of her leg does not indicate that he's a violent guy or an abuser of women. That's more of a testament to how much of a fucking psycho Sarah can be when she's drunk. Can you imagine? We've only seen her when she's completely hungover and still a little bit pissed, but when she's actually full drinking mode, oh man, that must be nuts. That must be crazy. And imagine how her voice gets. Okay, we saw a bit of her voice on the couch when she's filming George and she's going, "That's on you. that's on you. That's my name. Don't wear it out. Fuck you. That's what it's like when you cheat on me. Yeah, that's what it's like when you choke me. That's on you. Stupid. Oh, that's going to be played to a jury, and then she's going to have to tell them about it. Oh my God. Is this going to be better than Donna's trial? It's going to be a very different sort of show, isn't it? Wow. I don't think so. I think Donna's trial is going to be incredible. But Sarah Boone's trial, it's not going to be boring, is it? And we're covering it all on behalf of Fancy Fiction. Yeah, so subscribe to the channel. I'm just playing. I find it funny. If you don't, I think Kim left the building. I don't know. It's triggered something. Sorry, Kim. Didn't want to upset you, Kim. I just do what I do. I don't plan things. It just comes out. Whatever comes out, comes out. Some people get upset. Some people, I don't know. Anyway, it's all good, guys. It's all good. Let's move on.
But all the others have been him. But the very next day, she's in there trying to get it bailed out. So
Right.
I don't know. Basically, they get drunk, they get in a fight, she gets upset, she calls the cops. I mean, granted, I saw lots of black eyes, bruises.
On her?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, there definitely was. Now,
would you see George as much as you would see him or her?
I hardly ever saw him.
You hardly
I honestly, I didn't like being around either one of them.
Right.
To be honest, and him more so. So,
why's that?
Just I don't know. It's my ex-wife. She made me really mad with everything. How the whole divorce went down, and just, the way she acted.
Man, I hope Brian's got himself some therapy, like a proper person to sit down and walk him through this, because it must be tough, just the whole mess that comes with that level of alcohol abuse. It's really really destructive. And yeah,
acted and the way she changed and the way they both are. What it's done to Lucas and everything else. He's nobody I cared to see. Let me put it that way. It's not like I really went out of my way to it's just.
When you guys do drop-offs or anything, is it always through the school, or would you have to?
Hey, Miss Kate, M Skate. What is it? Is it Miss Kate or M Skate? You just bought us a coffee, and we say thank you for the coffee. We love the coffee. Thank you, Kate, or Miss Kate, or M Skate, whatever your name is. We love it. We love you.
Come here and see them, or no?
No, it's pretty much always during the school.
No, okay, I'm not going to do it again.
So now, sometimes she would come over or something like that. Sometimes he would be driving, but he would just stay in the car. She would come in. So I really wouldn't see him.
So it's not like you have conversations with George. Okay.
No, maybe a few times when they've drunkenly called me at night because she was telling me she needed to escape because whatever's going on, or she's put him on the phone, but I don't know.
When's the last?
Well, right in. They've given it 3 weeks. It was only scheduled for 2 weeks, and now they've given it 3 weeks because they're going to have to explain things to Sarah as they go. The jury's going to go out of their minds in this trial. They're going to be climbing up the walls. And yeah, do you think it's going to be a long deliberation? What was Charlie Adelson's? 2 hours, 3 hours? They did it before lunch. Not long at all, right? But this is going to be like they go back to the deliberation room and they say, should we just go back out there? Do we need to fill in all these forms?
Incident that you.
What do you mean go through the lesser offenses? Why? Maximum penalty.
You recall there being a domestic dispute between her and George?
She told me a week ago she had to escape from the house and wanted me to come pick her up. I told her I wasn't going to because I'm just tired of it happening. I mean, it was midnight. I mean, child's trying to sleep and just.
Right.
Honestly, I don't always believe her when she said these things were going on. And
she called you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, apparently she went back inside and slept well. Was in a fine mood the next day. I guess didn't really remember calling me, so I don't know if it was just
brought up again?
if it was just she wanted to come over to. I don't know. She keeps on trying to come over to like hang out or something like that, or she'll come over to spend time with Lucas rather than.
Yeah, she comes over to hang out when she's run out of booze, and she's like, "Yeah, I wonder if Brian still keeps a bottle in the drawer. Yeah, so let's go and see Brian to hang out with Lucas and Bond and where's the booze?"
Than actually just having him over here like she's supposed to, but she wants to come over there and play with him. And so I'm not sure how real that was. Last time I know there was an actual physical confrontation. It's probably been a little while because this last time George got arrested, I know he was on free trial, whatever, something. I don't know. He had a parole officer. He had a domestic violence class. He's like.
So that's the last time, basically the last time he was arrested was the last physical altercation that you recall?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know for sure, but I think so.
And you have any idea what year or month that may have been?
I agree, Christina. She grates on me. She grates on all of us. But I am looking forward to it because of the kind of. It's rare. It's kind of rare that we see something like this happen. All of these procedures that have been put in place, the way she's gone about her evidence discovery, the way, she's going to be making an opening statement to the jury, and the jury is sworn to keep an open mind. I mean, I think they're going to not have an open mind right after opening statement before any witness has been questioned. It's going to be unique in that way. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Back a few months, maybe?
A few months ago?
Yeah, something like that, maybe. I don't think it was incredibly long.
Okay. Like around the holidays of last year, before the holidays?
I think it was probably before the holidays. I'm trying to remember.
Okay.
Because oddly enough, there was like a 3-week period where she actually had Lucas all the time she was supposed to because he was in jail for a month or something like that.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't let him out.
Yeah. And you said when she drinks that she can get physically aggressive.
She can. I mean, she did it to me a lot where she'd hit me and stuff like that. I mean, she's tiny. I mean,
What do you mean hit though? Like open hand smack you or like try to punch you?
Yeah, she'd punch me. I mean,
yeah, I'm certainly worried about that too, Bob. Bob says that he's worried that she will have huge grounds for appeal and maybe walk. Yeah, I could see all of these little bits and pieces being enough to get into an appellate court, and once it's in there, the state has to argue why her appeal shouldn't go through. And those judges are completely different. They're not looking at the crime. They're looking at how it was handled by the state and what she was, quote unquote, made to do. A lot of people are saying to me in the comments, "Oh, you shouldn't say that she should get a lawyer of her choice because that would set a precedent for other defendants to choose the lawyer." I don't think so. It's not unprecedented that the state of Florida pays for legal representation. Michael Dunn in Duval County, the guy that shot 10 rounds into that SUV in Jacksonville because they had some music playing and killed a 17-year-old kid. Black kid. He had a lawyer paid for by the state. No, but I'm only suggesting that to safeguard against her reasons for appeal. The fact that she's quote unquote forced to represent herself when she knows nothing about anything about the procedure of court or whatever, you know. Puts her at a massive disadvantage. And I really need to look up what the legislature says about the grounds for a defendant forfeiting their right to legal counsel, because I'm sure that the court has crossed the I's, dotted the T's, whatever. But I also think that in the greater scheme of things, you know, when we look at a case like this, it's very easy for us to think that it, you know, the court has a whole list of cases, and some of them, believe it or not, are a lot worse than this. This is a tragedy, and she's a dangerous person. I mean, obviously, she's responsible for George's death, and she hasn't shown any remorse. Yeah, but as far as the court's concerned, I think possibly, I'm not fully committed to this theory, but maybe they don't really care if she faces punishment or not, and just they need to process it so it's out of the way so they can get back to doing real court things. I'm sure some stuff works like that. I'm not saying it does 100%. It's just the kind of idea that I've been playing with. But as far as the court is concerned, maybe they just need to get this processed, whatever way it lands, whether she walks, whether she does life in prison, as long as it's through the process and out of the court's way, maybe that is the most important thing to the court. But for us looking at this one case, or the small collection of cases that we all follow, it's easy to think that it's really important to the court as well, when actually they've got a lot on their plate. This is Orange County. Lot to do in the court.
Or arms. She many times would use her claws. I mean, I had scratches on my neck at times, on my arms. I mean, things like that where she'd dig with her claws.
Okay.
I never got that drunk, and I had restraint. I never touched her back. I think George didn't have that restraint, and at times he would hurt her back. So I mean, for all I know, all the times he got arrested, she started it. I don't know. I wasn't there, so. But I know she could get violent at times.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It wasn't anything too, I don't know, too much. I mean, just.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't feel like she was a huge threat. I'm assuming, right?
No.
Yeah. Like you could handle yourself.
Yes.
Does she drink daily?
I think pretty much.
Okay. And do you know like her drink of choice?
That would be vodka.
Vodka.
Or wine, but vodka is the big one.
And does she or George have a job?
No. She hasn't worked for over 2 years. Well, I guess you could.
I've heard it said before that vodka is the drink that makes you hate the people that you love and love the people that you don't know.
Maybe call when he's got a job. He worked at the Ace Hardware up across the street here.
Okay.
Which is now going out of business.
Okay.
He kind of off and on worked there. When he did work, it was 15, 20 hours a week, something like that. I mean, my alimony and stuff basically pays for where they live. So, I mean, they
Oh, another benefit there, Brian, hey? No more alimony. Yes.
didn't need a ton, but I mean, she was always calling to borrow money, and it's been like 2 years since she got a job. She keeps on telling me she's looking, and she's always finding the good opportunities and everything. But
does anybody know what that job was? Where did Sarah used to work 2 years ago? I mean, not 2 years ago from now, but 2 years. So that would have been 2018, 2017. The last time she worked. How do we find that out? I want to find that out.
Right.
okay,
Do you want to take it?
it's my dad. Just
Sure,
one second. Hold on. Hey.
Are you asking me if I'm from England, Kurt? Yeah, I'm born in England. I'm a British citizen. Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Well, just wait. I'm talking with the detectives right now, and I should be heading out here soon. So I can come get him. Okay? Is John out? Oh, okay. Is he awake? Okay. Good. Okay. Well, I should be up there very soon. Okay. Bye. Sorry.
Okay. We were just on the phone with someone. Okay. When you came over here, I know you said that she called you freaking out saying he was dead. Did she give you any more, like, did you ask why or
she told me that they were playing last night or something, and he got in the suitcase and she fell asleep.
Okay.
That's all she told me, so I don't know anything beyond that.
Okay.
And I really didn't talk to her much because I came inside, I told her you need to call the police, and then I came back out, and I think she went on the back porch to smoke a cigarette, so I didn't even really talk with her much.
Oh, like she was going outside this. Did you see her take a cigarette?
Yeah, she was going outside with well, I also know when the cops showed up, she kept on telling them she had a cigarette burning out there.
Well, Burger King, yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine her screwing up every order. When I tell you all this, you go back up to the counter and you say, "Excuse me, ma'am, but I ordered a Whopper with cheese, and this is a bacon double cheese." And she's like, "Not intentional, not intentional, no malicious."
And she needed to go put it out.
Okay.
But they were keeping her away from stuff, I guess.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, she wanted me to come back there with her. I was like, I'm going out here. I don't really want to be in here, so.
Right. And that's when she went to call 911.
Well, she called 911 while I was in there. I was standing right in the foyer area.
Okay.
And I mean, it was apparently a pretty quick conversation, and that's when she started to go that way, and I just told her I'm going out front. So.
Okay.
See you later, Lee. Good to see you, and thanks for the super chat.
Okay. So they were playing, and she went upstairs and went to bed.
I don't know where she went. She just told me she went to sleep.
Or she went to sleep. Okay. You don't know where.
I don't know where.
You didn't ask more questions.
I didn't ask more questions. I leave that to you guys.
Yeah. No problem.
Hey, I'll let you know when I'm done talking to these guys, okay? Hello? That's okay. All right. Never mind. Okay, bye. I'll call you when I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, Hugh. If they didn't have that video, who's to say what happened? She could have made anything up. That video is the absolute thing that got her. They probably wouldn't have even arrested her without that video. She should have immediately physically destroyed the phone completely and just, I don't know what happened.
Well, I was in the foyer.
No, not today.
Oh, before today? I'm trying to remember if I've been in there. I haven't even really been over here lately.
So it's been a long time.
It's probably been at least weeks, maybe.
Does Lucas play baseball or anything yet?
We've tried to get him into sports. He's not a big sports person, really.
Did you ever play baseball?
He didn't play baseball. Well, I mean, I had him like a T-ball set and stuff like that, and we'd play catch.
Was it like a plastic T-ball set, or what kind of equipment did you have?
Oh, no, this was when he was like 3 years old. It was a little plastic thing I had in the backyard.
Did you ever buy him any baseball bats or anything?
I bought one for over here that Sarah said for Lucas and George to like play with or something. That was.
It's interesting. I wonder why they're already looking at this baseball bat thing going, I mean, they're asking that because they think there's reason to believe that George has been hit with a baseball bat, right? But why do they know that so quickly? This is the same day. George has been taken. I mean, where do they take him? The hospital, the medical examiner's office, whatever it is. But they won't have had any results yet, surely, to call up the cops and say, yeah, looks like this guy's been hit with a bat. Or maybe it is that quick. In a suspicious death, maybe they have to respond quickly, and because they might the cops on the ground might have to gather evidence before it disappears, right? Maybe it is that quick. I don't know.
That was like a year ago or something, maybe.
What kind of bat was it? Was it a wood bat?
Yeah, it was a wooden bat. I think it was like a junior size thingy. I don't know. It's something that I looked like kind of for his height or something, I think.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Would you mind if I took a picture of your call log to show
Sure.
that you've all the
Do you just want to
attempts?
see hers, or you, like zoomed in on hers so you can see all of those?
Yeah, that's perfect. So I'd say starting from today. I know her phone.
Did you text with her at all today?
Not today. I don't think I did today at all.
Sorry.
Yeah, right, Leslie. She was like, when you look at my phone and you see when he smashed up my TV and you see the marks, I started documenting everything, all the abuse. I documented all the abuse. Here's all the evidence against me. It's still really hard to tell whether she completely forgot about the video that she'd made it, or whether she like deleted it but didn't delete it from deleted items. I still haven't made a decision on that. Anyone got an opinion or know any facts on the on that? Because I do have my own sources, but they're all engaged at the moment.
That was last night. She was drunkenly texting me.
Last night?
Yeah.
What time?
That was 11 o'clock at night. I think that was.
Last night was Sunday. What does it say?
Oh, that's Saturday. Never mind.
Saturday.
That was Saturday night when I was watching the baseball game.
Okay.
Yesterday, which is that, she said her account was in the negative, so I transferred her a little bit of money to get her out of the negative.
She sent you. Oh, that was the morning. Okay, so she thanked you at 11:56 that morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What's the last thank you? What time? Okay, so just a few times.
Yeah, and then that one at
She left
12:01.
at 12:01. Okay, so afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the calls. Do you need like?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Yep, I'll start from the top where it has her information.
Yeah, Shiraz, I think that is actually how you play adult drunk hide and seek. I'll hide you, drink until I can't remember where, and then maybe I'll remember to seek.
Go ahead. You could scroll down. And that's fine. Perfect. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Has Lucas ever told you anything
Yeah,
about?
listen to our moderator, guys. Neverly Darling says, if you like the video, if you're enjoying the video, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel because we've got lots more content coming out. We've got links if you want to support the channel to buymeacoffee.com in the description for the video, or our Patreon membership. And if you want a cool, fancy colored star next to your name in this chat, if that's your thing, you need to become a YouTube member today. So hit that join button right now.
About her, like, witnessing anything between her and George?
He's heard arguments and things like that. He's not a big fan.
Oh, and also super chat and super stickers. Or if you're looking on demand, watching on demand, like every good member does, super thanks.
Staying over here, honestly.
Okay.
Just because they get in arguments and stuff like that. I don't think they've ever had a physical fight in front of him.
Okay.
But I know there's been arguments he's told me about.
Okay.
There's been times where I think things were starting to get to that point, and she has called me to come pick him up.
Okay.
And bring him back over to my house. So
yeah. Okay.
She's generally pretty good about having me come get him which leads to me not having a life because I can't ever do anything.
Right.
So I can't go anywhere because I'm too worried about something happening to me having to be over here quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, that is rough, isn't it? You can't do anything. Even on your day off as a parent, you look after the kid for your time looking after the kid. I'm sure he's happy to do that, right? But when it's your break day and the kid is with the other parent, you know, it's nice to do something that's just for you, isn't it? It's nice to take that time and not have to look after a 9-year-old for a day or two, right? But he can't do that. He's sitting at home worrying by the phone because he knows that any minute now Sarah's going to call him up drunk and say, "Can you come get the kid? George is in another mood."
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, do you know if she's ever had any issues with drugs in the past?
To my knowledge, she's never really been a drug person. She's big on alcohol, but I don't think she's ever done. I mean, I think she told me like one time, like back before we got divorced, that at I don't know, this bar thing over there across the street near the Walgreens, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I've never been there, but somebody gave her a little bit of cocaine like 2 years ago or something like that. But I've never known her to do drugs.
What about George?
No clue whatsoever.
She's never complained to you?
No. That's not to say these things don't happen, because I try to keep myself out of and away from them in general, but
right.
Which vehicle is yours?
The Prius right up here.
In front of us?
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
That is what I got sent.
Oh,
I know it looks like a vanity thing. No, that's just this last time they, I guess, sent me a new plate and that's what was on it.
Awesome.
Yeah, guys, Riding Shotgun says an autopsy report said that Torres had scratches on his back and neck and contusions to his shoulder, skull, and forehead from blunt force trauma, as well as a cut near his busted lip. So that could be from being hit in the head with a baseball bat or being pushed down the stairs while in a bag, or both, right? I think that's pretty much the extent of the physical harm that was done to poor George before he suffocated to death from positional asphyxia. What a horrible cause of death, name for a cause of death. That gives me nightmares. I don't like being in a small confined space. I'm not claustrophobic, but I like to stretch my legs. Even when you're on the plane, you know, I always like to sit in the emergency seat if I'm in coach. It's stupid. You know? The chairs are too close together. It's not nice. On a long flight, that's a nightmare. And he had to sit in a bag for the entirety of a long flight. I could fly from Portugal to friggin' Los Angeles in the time that he was in that bag. You know? Man.
So you can make that up whatever you want it to be.
I could.
Tell them it's for racing. You're going to.
Yeah, I know you're racing.
Yes, racing in my Prius.
I'm not saying you win. I'm just saying you race.
Oh, man. Okay.
Funny, huh? There's another Prius in this story. Ooh. And they're making fun of him I'm not saying you'd win in that piece of shit car, but you could enter the race. Oh, funny. Poor Brian. He's been abused for 15 years by this drunk nightmare woman, and now the cop is ridiculing his choice of car, basically saying that he's not a man.
Anything else, Scott? Okay. Is there anything else that you think is important for us to know that we have not asked you about either George or Sarah?
I don't think so.
When I mean, you guys have been separated for, what do you say, 5?
We've been divorced about 1.5 years. We were separated a good 8 months before that or so. And we had been separated one other time before that, before we got back together, and we're trying to do therapy, which didn't work at all. So
How long has she been living in this apartment?
ever since we got divorced. So
A year and a half ago?
no, longer than that then. Because I took over the house. I moved in there and she moved here. Because I told her I was buying her out of the house. So I guess it has been longer than that. I think she just said she renewed, so maybe just past 2 years.
Okay.
That may be right.
I think she said she's been here like 4 years.
No, she's been with George. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah, she was with George before we were divorced. So
Yeah. Okay. And anytime that
Hey, don't knock Steely Dan, Shiraz. Steely Dan's great. Old Steely Dan.
that you recall when you guys were together, and she would be drunk, did she always like resort to getting angry? Like, is she an angry drunk, or would she like?
Her main problem is she can't stop.
Okay.
I mean, she can't go out and have a glass of wine with dinner.
Right.
That's not a thing she can do, because once she starts drinking, she will continue drinking basically until she out.
She goes to sleep.
Yeah.
If she were to be drunk, would she like want to play games with you? Like, did you guys?
Oh, there's a really good period where she is very good, but then she drinks past that and she gets into the angry bits.
Okay. All right. Okay. Can you just raise your right hand for me? Do you promise and swear everything we've talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This ends the recording 15:52 hours. Today's date is March 1st, 2020. The time now is approximately 16:41 hours.
Yeah, I think this is the phone call interview a little later on. I think maybe the day after or the day after that.
This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I am on the phone with, can you state your name, sir?
Brian Bennett.
And I have a couple follow-up questions that I wanted to ask Brian Boone in reference to this case. Brian, just give me your date of birth for me.
5.
Okay. And do you promise and swear everything we're going to talk about is going to be true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a conversation about the incident and your involvement a few days ago, earlier this week, I believe on Tuesday. And after looking through Sarah's call logs, I noticed that she called you on February 23rd, which would be the Sunday night at around 23:46 hours, and that's military time, but in normal time, that's 11:46 hours. Do you recall that phone call?
I do, well, somewhat. I was asleep when she called. So she woke me up. I was half asleep when I was talking to her. She did sound very inebriated.
Okay.
I don't remember what all she said. I'm kind of used to her calling drunk late at night and things like that, so it didn't faze me as anything out of the ordinary. I basically just kind of got her off the phone and told her I'm going back to sleep and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. You said that she sounded inebriated, like she was drunk?
Yeah, I mean, she didn't sound like, I don't, it's hard. I was half asleep at the time. I don't think I remember hearing anything bad in the background or anything that would have caused me concern, but I don't really remember it that well.
Okay. But she was under the influence of alcohol based off of your knowledge of just knowing her and knowing when she's not under the influence.
Yeah. As soon as I heard her start talking, I almost kind of just zoned out away from it because she says all kinds of nonsense when she does this late at night, and just I was trying to get her off the phone so I could go back to sleep. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm on the phone right now. You need to get yourself dried off. Get yourself dried off. Your pajamas are right here, okay? Hold on, Betty. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm sorry.
okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember her saying anything specifically about George?
I don't think so. I don't really remember. I really don't remember much of the conversation, honestly.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, and the phone conversation lasted for a little over 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken?
May have been, yeah.
Okay. And you said that is kind of normal for her to call you late at night or just kind of whenever she's under the influence and she's kind of just babbling on and you have to try and get her off the phone.
Yeah,
You don't
it's a thing that happens.
Okay. Okay, so you can't remember anything specific about what she may or may not have said, but she did sound inebriated. Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
And you couldn't hear anything in the background?
Not that.
As far as like arguing or yelling or anything like that, you couldn't hear any of that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know where she was located? Did she ever say?
I was assuming she was at home.
Okay, but she didn't say.
I mean, she didn't have a lot of money. She didn't really go out anywhere, so I assumed she was at home.
Okay. But you wouldn't know where in the house she may have been?
No.
Okay, she didn't give you that information. Okay.
Not that I remember. It's possible she said something. I don't really remember, though.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you think is important for me to know about that phone conversation?
I don't think so.
Does that typically, do you guys talk often?
I'm not even sure if this is before or after. I think this is before Sarah's interview. Well, no, because then Sarah would be with Brian. I don't know. I don't know if Sarah's arrested at this point the conversation is happening or not.
Like in a day's time, like do you guys talk daily?
More than I would like. Normally, anytime I'm calling her, it's to find out if she's actually going to be picking the child up like she's supposed to.
Right.
Like that next morning with me constantly calling.
Right.
She'll call to talk to Lucas, or sometimes when she's drunk, or she wants me to come pick her up because she's scared of George, or any number of different things.
Okay, you're kind of like her call person, like she.
Yeah. It's gotten very old over the last couple of years, so I've started to just kind of ignore what she's saying and just try to get her gone as soon as possible.
Right.
Because, honestly, for a long time, I tried to help her out, give her refuge, get away from him, and she just kept bringing him back, and I eventually just gave up on the situation, so.
Right. Okay. All right. Do you promise and swear everything that we have talked about has been true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. This ends the recording at 16:47 hours.
Hey, five gummy bears for you. Well done. You know your Dan. And you, Shiraz. Nice one, guys. Okay. That about wraps it up for tonight, kids. Credit where credit is due. Okay, yeah. No, thank you all for putting up with this strange performance tonight. We just had to tie off that Sarah Boone footage from the other day. We had to do a short show the other day because that was our double down, double header, double bill show. Okay, so what's next? Will we be on tomorrow? Perhaps, but I've got this meeting to attend. I don't know what's happening with it. So maybe not. I don't know. But I'll be sure to let you all know. And I guess we're going to go back to some, should we do just Adelson content for the rest of the week? Man, we did a Sunday fun day yesterday with a completely different case, just way off the ball, non-current, out of state, out of Florida, over in Utah, Ogden, Utah. I have never had such low views on a video, even in the beginning, guys. No one cares, but I don't care that no one cares. I'll do the cases I want to do, and if people like it, that's great. We're not here to please. We're not here to try and be popular. You know, people are always, well, not always. We don't get many negative comments in the post show at all. But someone said to me today, what did they say? This is while we were on. Too much talking. And it's like, what am I supposed to say to that? Am I supposed to change because one person says to me, too much talking? Well, I agree. Maybe I talk a lot and I stop the video in inappropriate places, but I really enjoy doing that. So, you know, if it's not for everybody, I'm okay with that. So it's just funny when people kind of feel the need to really quite forcefully say their point of view. Oh, just makes me laugh, kind of. Yeah, we're not trying to be a big show. We're not trying to compete with anyone. I do whatever the hell this is, and it'll probably slowly evolve over time. But I'm not in a rush to do that. If I don't like doing it, I'll stop doing it. That's it. Okay. Amy has spoken. Amy, you're really becoming a very good contributor. I love the collection that you have put with these transcript documents. I was just going through some of this stuff from Katie McBanower and the unknown mail of texts in another language that have been translated. Very interesting stuff I'd never seen before. So thank you for sharing that with all of us at True Crime Metrics. And Neverly Darling, thank you as always for being a fantastic moderator. And Tracy Lee, KLK, she can spot any Steely Dan lyric from 50 yards, KLK. She can name the song, the artists, and the date of release. And Shiraz, you started this whole game. Oh. Okay, Kurt, good to see you as always, man. Good to see you as always. Rabbit, love you too. Well, and Neverly, and everyone. Yes, Bob, fantastic stuff, Bob. You had a great comment yesterday with the, what was it? When the carpet matches the drapes. I didn't quite catch it in the show, but I had a look at the comments afterwards, and that was funny. Anyway, if anyone wants to be on Discord, it is 3:18 a.m., but as usual, I'm wide awake, and I'm probably going to be fucking around on there for an hour. So if anyone's there, we'll be there. If anyone isn't on Discord and wants to join, me and Ian had a great chat this morning. It was hilarious. I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh, yeah, it was about, oh, well, you'll see. If you want to join on Discord, it's free, it's hilarious. You can sit in, you can participate or not. But stuff gets discussed there, and it's a free-for-all. You know, everyone has a word. You don't have to just listen to me bullshit about fancy fiction. I know 50% of you hate what I do with that, but I kind of think it's funny. And like I said, that's all that really matters to me. Not trying to impress anyone, not trying to please anyone. I tried to do that for too many years of my life, and it didn't fucking work. Anyway, we're going to catch you later. Stay safe. Don't be an Adelson. Be kind to each other, and have a safe drive home. See you later.